Hello everyone. Welcome to Super Story Time. Sit back, relax, and enjoy today's story. I'm not the kind of person who scares easily. For almost 4 years, I worked as a 911 dispatcher. I've listened to people whisper while someone broke into their house. I've stayed on the phone while firefighters searched burning buildings. After a while, fear starts to feel ordinary. At least, that's what I believed. Last November, I moved into a small apartment just outside Portland. New city, new job, fresh start. The building was old but quiet. 4 floors, 30 apartments. Most of the tenants were elderly. The landlord proudly told me, "Nothing exciting ever happens here." I believed him. The first week was uneventful. Work, sleep, repeat. Then, one Tuesday morning, I woke up to a voicemail. Unknown number. The message lasted only 7 seconds. Heavy breathing. Then a man quietly said, "Wrong apartment." Click. That was it. I deleted it without thinking much about it. The next morning, another voicemail. Different number. Same voice. Still here. Click. I frowned. It wasn't a prank. There was no laughing, no threats, just those 2 words. I blocked the number. The following day, another voicemail appeared. Another new number. "You're making this difficult." For the first time, I felt uneasy. My phone company couldn't trace the calls. Every voicemail came from a prepaid phone that had already been deactivated. A few days passed. Nothing happened. I slowly convinced myself someone had simply chosen the wrong person to mess with. Then Friday night arrived. I got home just before midnight. As I reached my apartment door, I noticed my welcome mat had been moved. Only a few inches. It wasn't a big deal. Maybe another tenant had bumped it. I unlocked the door. Everything inside looked exactly the way I'd left it. Nothing missing, nothing damaged. I showered, made dinner, and went to bed. At exactly 3:02 a.m., my phone vibrated. A new voicemail. I hadn't heard it ring. I pressed play. The same calm voice whispered, "You're finally asleep." I immediately checked the timestamp. 3:02 a.m. I looked at my bedside clock. 3:03. The message had been left less than a minute earlier. Whoever recorded it knew I was asleep. I searched the apartment, closets, bathroom, under the bed. Nothing. I barely slept. The next morning I bought a security camera. Actually, I bought 3. One pointed toward my front door. One covered the living room. One watched the hallway outside my apartment. For almost a week, everything was quiet. No calls, no strange noises, no moved welcome mat. Then, another voicemail. "You bought cameras." I nearly dropped my phone. There was no way anyone should have known that. Unless they had seen me carrying them inside. I rushed to the hallway camera footage. At 8:16 that morning, someone wearing a black hoodie had walked past my apartment. The hood completely covered his face. He never looked at my door, never stopped walking. He disappeared down the stairs. I showed the footage to the building manager. He watched it twice, then looked confused. "That's impossible." "Why?" He pointed at the timestamp. "That stairwell has been closed for renovations all week." I checked for myself. He was right. The door leading to the stairs was chained shut. No one could have used it. That night, I pushed my couch against the front door, locked every window, and kept a baseball bat beside my bed. At exactly 3:02 a.m., my phone buzzed again. "Open the door." I didn't move. "I know you're awake." Every light in my apartment suddenly went out. The entire building lost power. Silence filled the room. Then, 3 slow knocks echoed from my front door. Knock, knock, knock. I held my breath. Another voicemail arrived. "Good. Don't answer." The knocks immediately stopped. For several minutes, nothing happened. Then the lights came back on. I ran to the peephole. The hallway was empty. No footsteps, no elevator. Nothing. I checked the security camera. The hallway recording showed no one outside my apartment. Not before the knocks, not during them, not after. Yet the microphone clearly captured 3 loud knocks. The police came the next morning. They searched the building. No signs of forced entry, no fingerprints, no witnesses. One officer suggested someone might be spoofing my phone. Another thought I was being stalked. Neither explanation answered the biggest question. Who had knocked on my door? A week later, I received another voicemail. This time, there were no words. Just the sound of an elevator opening. Then footsteps. Then my apartment door unlocking. I replayed it over and over. In the background, I heard my own television, playing the movie I'd watched the previous night. Someone had been inside my apartment. I replayed the voicemail at least 20 times. There was no mistake. The television in the background was mine. The same movie, the same scene, the same line of dialogue. Someone had recorded that message from inside my apartment. The police returned that afternoon. They dusted the locks, the windows, even the balcony. Nothing. No fingerprints except mine. One detective asked a question that caught me off guard. Has anyone ever had a key? The landlord? Anyone else? I thought about it. No. He nodded. Change the locks anyway. I did. The very next day. Brand new deadbolt. Brand new keys. For the first time in weeks, I felt safe. That feeling lasted exactly one night. At 3:02 a.m., my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I already knew what it was. Better. But not enough. I sat upright. Someone knew I'd changed the locks. I hadn't told anyone except the locksmith. The next morning, I called the company. The technician confirmed he hadn't discussed my apartment with anyone. Then he casually asked, "Did you ever find the second key?" "What second key?" "The one that wasn't on the hook." I felt my stomach drop. There was only one. He went quiet. "No. When I removed the old lock, there were supposed to be 2. That afternoon, I asked the landlord. His face turned pale. There should have been 2. He searched every office drawer, every cabinet. Nothing. The spare key had disappeared years ago. No one had reported it missing. I spent the next week sleeping at a friend's house. No voicemails, no strange calls. Nothing. Eventually, I convinced myself the nightmare was over. I returned home on a Sunday evening. Everything looked normal, until I opened my closet. My winter jacket was hanging backwards. I always hung it facing left. Always. Maybe I had done it without thinking. I reached into the pocket. There was a folded piece of paper. Just 3 words. Welcome back home. No fingerprints, no handwriting match, just printed letters cut from magazines. That was enough. I packed a bag and left immediately. The police finally obtained a warrant to search the building's maintenance areas. In the basement, behind an old electrical room, they found something hidden inside the ceiling. A sleeping bag, bottled water, canned food, a flashlight, disposable phones, and a notebook. Every page contained apartment numbers, dates, work schedules, notes about tenants. Apartment 204, mine, filled nearly 15 pages. One sentence appeared over and over again. Lives alone. Sleeps around 11:30. Always answers unknown numbers. The final entry had yesterday's date. It read, "Moved the jacket." The police believed whoever had written the notebook had escaped only hours before they searched the basement. They never found him. Months passed. I moved to another city, changed my number, started over. No more voicemails, no more fear. Until last month. I was cleaning old files off my laptop when I noticed something I'd never seen before. A folder called Recordings. I never created it. Inside, There were dozens of audio files. Each one had a date. Each date matched one of the nights I'd lived in that apartment. I opened the first recording. It was silent. Then I heard my front door unlock. Footsteps. My television. My own voice. I was talking on the phone. The recording continued for almost 20 minutes. Whoever made it had been standing inside my apartment the entire time. I couldn't finish listening. I deleted every file. Or at least, I thought I did. The next morning, there was only one file left. A brand new recording, created at 3:02 a.m. I hadn't even opened my laptop. Hands shaking, I pressed play. For several seconds, nothing. Then I heard someone breathing. A calm voice whispered, "Wrong apartment." A door opened. Footsteps echoed across a wooden floor. Then, the voice laughed quietly and said one final sentence I'll never forget. "I found you again." If you enjoyed today's story, don't forget to subscribe to Super Story Time for more terrifying stories every week. And remember, sometimes the scariest messages aren't the ones you answer. They're the ones already waiting for you.